Hey YouTube, how we doing? This is just going to be a one-off video on the reasons why I don't just turn myself in because, believe it or not, people keep telling me, why don't you just turn yourself in? Just turn yourself in. Why don't you turn yourself in? And so, for such nonsense to be put to rest, I will go through probably most, but I'm sure not all, of the reasons why I won't just turn myself in. To start, because I can't do anything for Ashley if I'm in prison. So that's one, because up until I learned how to code to make the websites and went off to Ukraine and did all of these things, there wasn't really a lot of people that even knew Ashley existed. That was sort of the whole point. They were able to prevent an international school from being known as an importation center for party drugs that went on for years, right under the noses of the corrupt police, and wrap it around the neck of a young scapegoat who nobody really knows about and is from a pearl country that isn't going to be able to make a lot of noise internationally. And once they made her sentenced from death to life in prison, well, then all of the normal outcry that would have come from international rights groups and the such, like what just occurred with that Singaporean man. He wasn't Singaporean, but in Singapore, the man who was just executed for a pound of marijuana, was it 2 pounds? Of 1 or 2 pounds of marijuana, Singapore just took a man's life. They executed him for this marijuana. And so that, I heard about it, maybe you heard about it, a lot of people heard about it, because obviously when you go that far, then there's going to be much more outcry. But with Ashley and the life imprisonment, little South African, there was nothing. So anyway, that's not really acceptable for me, just to go and turn myself in. I'm not really sure what that would solve anyway, but it certainly wouldn't help Ashley at all. It's not just a swapsy sort of system. I don't know what sort of naivety is existing within the craniums of a lot of the people that comment such outlandish ideas, but it's just really nonsensical if you think about it. But that's not the only reason, so I'll continue. There was a man, a king actually, from Sparta, named Menelaus. You may have heard of him. Now, it is sort of paraphrased from the Greek playwright Euripides. You may or may not have heard of him, but nevertheless, the quote is basically that blind obedience to anything, including the law, is the first attribute of a slave. And I subscribe to that. I mean, right now, for example, you have a war going on in a country like Russia, and if citizens say that there's a war going on, then they can go to prison for 15 years. They do, or in some cases go to prison for 15 years. And so a lot of people are just blindly obedient. They just accept. But if you look at how I grew up, which is probably a large reason, I never really grew up accepting of that sort of just mandated authority. I always questioned, I always colored outside the lines, always questioned why. And so for me personally, especially after Thailand and all these governments locked down their nation's populaces, mandated, forced them, actually 4 times, forced them to be vaccinated with unproven, drug cocktails with no liability to the producers of said cocktails and very low efficacy. The side effects are which are still being suppressed and coming out. And these governments, they did all of these things, but then turn around and try to say if you are selling marijuana in Singapore, they can take your life away. Or if you are providing the love drug in Thailand, then you can be given a life sentence. But yet, and here's another reason, people, okay, those same police, I mean, Beauput police, Koh Samui, right? We're talking about the police station that Ashley was arrested and taken to, 21-year-old South African, while Ashley was there in that same jail. A sergeant major, a Thai police sergeant major, was filmed on camera inside Bo Put police station raping a 21-year-old Burmese woman. The next day, 23 hours later, released on bail. How much? 400,000 baht. Ashley was denied bail at 2 million baht for his signature and given a life sentence. And this sergeant major literally raped a woman. And that's not the only thing. I'll put a bunch of links and stuff in the description. You can see yourself. I'll be better with the videos this time, and going forward I'll add some pictures and stuff inside them probably right now or whatnot, so that you can see if you didn't already know. I mean, if you live in Koh Samui or in the Gulf of Thailand, you're well familiar with the fact that those very same police that want to walk around and laud themselves up as the purveyors of justice are the same ones that go around to bars like Jimi Hendrix, Eden, Guys, Rock, parties like Backyard, Floating Loy, Lost Paradise, all of these and so many more. They literally go around and collect money from these proprietors every single month so that you and I can go into Jimi Hendrix Bar any night of the week that we want and get cocaine or ecstasy pills or sometimes other things. And then we can go into the bathroom stalls 8 deep and snort lines off of the phone, and there is no problem. Never, not a single police ever came in to that place while I was there, and I spent a lot of time there, people, okay? And if you live there, so do you. So, you know, it's just like these people are like, why did you turn yourself in? Turn myself into who? The ones that are taking the bribes to sell the same drugs that I was selling? Or the ones that are raping prisoners and then getting away with it? This is your justice? This is your sense of justice? Like, it's just, are you really that ignorant or naive? I just don't get it. So, you know, those are some of the reasons. But again, another big one is, why would I turn myself in if I know that they're going to take my life away? And not just like at this point, everything that I've said and done. They'll do more than just take my freedom away, but you know, they'll try and take a lot more, but there's just no reason for it, because again, what did I really do wrong? I used technology to import non-addictive medicines which were provided to consenting adults at very low prices at extremely high purity. There was never a single illness or a case of addiction related to me. Why should I go and give my life up for bringing happiness, joy, and freedom to people? Really, as you drink your caffeine and smoke your government-approved tobacco and take your government-approved opioids and narcotics and take your government-mandated vaccines. I mean, who are you to tell me that I should turn myself in? Especially some of you. Some of you actually were like my customers. Alicia, you know, turn myself in. Literally, you used to come to my house and buy from more than just me. But, you know, again, there's like a reason why. Who made the freeashley.org site? Who made everything I did? What was the reason to try and get Ashley a lower sentence or out? Did it work? No. So is there really a reason to continue just saying, you know, that I did this and I did that? No. But is this the time to come out with more than that? No. But the people from Koh Samui, you know better. So for you to sit here and tell me that I should turn myself in is just so hypocritical. I laugh in your face. I piss from the clouds and you think it's rain. It's just unreal. Unreal. Really. Unbelievable. So, yeah. Oh, and of course, not that I care, but you don't get, there's no justice there. There's no fairness in the trial. Again, Ashley, she had $40,000 behind. She had $60,000 for a bail for a signature, which they denied, even though they let the rapist on camera go for 5 times less than a day after. Oh, why? Because he's the police, of course. And oh, and another reason why, because the police are, I mean, yes, they're so corrupt. They're so corrupt. They know that I was importing drugs to Panini for years. There's evidence. Liam Capone, the CEO, is the one that contacted the police in order to start this whole thing in the first place. After the MD was discovered in the mailroom, after I went to Ukraine to medical school, I was using the school for years. I was only using the shop for a few months at best. So, you know, it's just crazy that the police, they know all this. I mean, these are the same police that arrested Ashley after they forced her to sign her name to a package that they knew didn't belong to her. I mean, the package is to a man named David. And then they took her to an unmarked location and they gave her no lawyer, no interpreter, over a dozen men surrounding her, threatening her with rape and worse, and forcing her to sign documents which they said was some sort of cooperation that weren't written in English or Afrikaans. They were written in Thai, made her sign it, and that turned out to be a confession. And these are the people that you want me to turn myself into? Like, what is wrong with you? Look up Joe Ferrari. I mean, look up the Thai police. What are you talking about? You are just filled with nonsense. How can I ever get revenge and vengeance if I give myself up to those same people that are perpetrating the injustice? It's just madness. And so that will never happen. I will never turn myself into them for many reasons, both that I've said and that have not been said, that have been missed. But what is certain is that anybody that thinks I can just go and turn myself in and that Ashley is somehow magically going to be released is on stronger, better drugs than I ever had and than I ever provided to anyone. And anyone that tells me that I should turn myself in or something like that, and you actually are from Koh Samui and you know me and you know us, you know, especially if you were a customer, especially if you used to come to my house, to my parties on Coral Hill, free of charge, eating at my table. Ho, ho, ho. Wow. Man, human beings are some fascinating creatures, man. Y'all get off at some real high platitudes, I'm telling you what. But anyway, in the future, whenever someone comments or asks, why don't you turn yourself in? Why don't you turn yourself in? I'll direct them here. And again, there's more reasons, but these should suffice. And if they don't, I honestly don't care to spend more time providing more at the moment anyway. But I will say that the non-fiction that's coming out, false positive, it will leave no questions unanswered. And it's all provable and verifiable, just like everything else.